morning. Today's topic is anti-thyroid drugs. I already told about the physiology of the thyroid drugs and thyroid as a whole. Myself, Dr. Ghulam Ahmad Loon, Assistant Professor of Pharmacology, Dr. R.K. GMCH, Hamirpur, Himachal Pradesh. Now, classification of thyroid inhibitors. There are 5 classes of the drugs under this class, and inhibit hormone synthesis is the first one. It is called as the anti-thyroid thioamides. Prothiouracil, PTU, thiourea produces goiter, methimazole, carbimazole. Thioamides mechanism of action bind to the thyroid peroxidase and prevent to oxidation of the iodide and iodotyrosin residues in thyroglobulin. Thereby, it depletes thyroid colloid and blood levels of T3 to T4 are lowered in the periphery. Also, PTU inhibits the conversion of T4 T3 by deiodinase, that's called the D1 type. There are 2 types, D1, D2, and D1 is present in the liver, kidney, but not by D2 deiodinase, that's present in the skeletal muscle, heart, brain, and pituitary. Now, thyroid inhibitors. Ionic inhibitors, we have iodine, iodide of sodium, potassium, organic iodide. They act by inhibiting iodide trapping by NIS into the thyroid, so T3 and T4 cannot be synthesized. Perchlorate more potent than thiocyanate in blocking NIS. While nitrate is very weak in Graves' disease, iodine is the fastest acting. The action is called the thyroid constipation. In thyrotoxicosis, thyroid escape occurs and thyrotoxicosis may return normal. Excess iodide inhibits its own transport. Excess iodide rapidly and briefly interferes with the iodination of the thyrosil and thyronine residues of the thyroglobulin by redox potential of thyroid cells and reduce T3 and T4 synthesis. That we call as the Wolff-Chaikoff effect. Its use are preoperative before the operation of the thyroid, that we call the thyroidectomy in Graves' disease. 10 days before surgery we give, and thyroid storm also we give in the second case. In the third case, prophylaxis of the endemic goiter and as antiseptic tincture iodine. Adverse drug effects are acute reaction, chronic overdosage iodism, and thyroiodism. And then thyroid inhibitors. They inhibit ion trapping. Ionic inhibitors are thiocyanate, SCN, perchlorate, ClO4, and nitrate NO3. Perchlorate is used to enhance the response to thiamides. So when we give these perchlorates with the thiamides, it enhances the sorts of a synergistic effect in refractory Graves' disease associated with the amiodarone. Large amounts may inhibit the organification of iodine. The various NIS inhibitors are additive in inhibiting iodide uptake. Perchlorate can be used to control hyperthyroidism, and it given in high doses causes aplastic anemia. Perchlorate in dose of the 750 milligrams is used in Graves' disease. Lithium decreases T4 and T3, which can cause overt hypothyroidism. That's why the lithium is given in MDP, and we have to do the baseline of the lithium level initially, and thereafter we have to do the T4 and T3 level. Once we give the lithium for 2 to 3 weeks, for 2 to 3 months, then we have to do T4, T3 again. So because the lithium causes the hypothyroidism. Then thyroid inhibitors, it destroys thyroid tissue. Radioactive iodine, iodine 131, there are 2 types of the radioiodine, 131, 123. 123 radioiodine has short half-life and 30 hours and is used for diagnostic tests. Because once the drug is used for the diagnostic tests, its half-life should be very, very short. So that's why we use 123 iodine for the diagnostic purposes. 124 iodine is used with PET and CT scan. PET is positron emission tomography for more precise dosimetry in high-risk thyroid cancer patients. 131 iodine has 8 days half-life and emits both gamma and beta particles. It is used in hypothyroidism, older patients, Graves' disease, toxic nodular goiter, scanning procedures, or also it is used for the diagnostic tools. So, introduction. Now I am starting. These drugs were used for more than half a century. The treatment of choice for most young people with Graves' disease, it is an autoimmune disease. It produces IgG class of antibody called thyroid stimulating immunoglobulins. The exophthalmos of the Graves' disease appears to be due to the stimulation of TS receptors on periorbital tissue due to the feedback inhibition, TSH level low. It is also used in toxic nodular goiter. It produces thyroid hormone independent of TSH. So the mechanism of action is simple molecule. I have already enumerated. Thionamide contains a sulfahydryl group and a thiourea moiety within a heterocyclic structure. They have got the heterocyclic structure, as you know in chemistry. Prothiazole and methimazole are the two components. Methimazole is used in the Europe and Asia. Carbimazole is in the United Kingdom, actively concentrated by thyroid gland against the concentration gradient. So once it reaches the thyroid gland, it specifically goes there, it is being taken against the concentration gradient. Inhibit thyroid hormone synthesis by interfering with thyroid peroxidase mediated iodination of the tyrosine residue in thyroglobulin. This is the structure of the thiourea, prothiazole and methimazole. You see all contain the sulfahydryl groups. Now this is the synthesis of the thyroxine and triiodothyronine. The main crux of this structure I have to enumerate. You have to go through the Tripathi. You will see how it is being by synthesized. In the panel A, I have D panels. In the panel A, thyroid peroxidase, a hemi-containing glycoprotein, is encoded within the thyroid follicle cells membrane at the luminal side of the thyroid follicles. In panel B, the first step in thyroid hormone synthesis involves generation of an oxidized enzyme promoted by an endogenously produced hydrogen peroxide. In panel C, the oxidized enzyme reacts with the tripod iodide to form an iodinating molecule that is called a TPO-IOX. The nature of which is not entirely understood. Some investigators favor a formation of the hemi-linked iodinium ion, that is TPO-I, whereas others suggest the formation of the iodide TPO-IOI. Now this is also panel D. In the absence of the antithyroid drug, the iodinating intermediate reacts with the specific tyrosine residue in thyroglobulin inside to form monoiodotyrosine and diiodotyrosine. These are the two components for the T3 and T4. Subsequent intramolecular coupling of the MIT-DIT forms triiodotyrosine. So the MIT and DIT is formed, and this combination gives as the triiodothyronine. And the coupling of the two DIT molecules form the tyrosine that I have already told you in the biosynthetic lecture. In the presence of an antithyroid drug, that is methimazole, shown in panel E, the drug serves as an alternative substrate for the iodinating intermediate. So once it goes inside, it serves as an alternative substrate and competing with thyroglobulin linked tyrosine residues and diverting oxidized iodide away from the hormone synthesis. So it has got a coupling with this. The drug intermediate with the sulfur linked iodide in a theoretical reaction produces. In panel F now, the oxidized drug forms an unsuitable drug disulfide that spontaneously degrades to an active disulfurated molecule. So it is deactivated to disulfurated molecule shown in the methimazole. Antithyroid drugs also impair the coupling reaction in vitro. So it is in vivo as well as in vitro has been seen, but it is uncertain whether this occurs in vivo or not. Now mechanism of action. PTU blocks the conversion of T4 to T3. So it blocks this conversion within the thyroid and in peripheral tissue. So the PTU acts internal as well as external. So outside also it inhibits the T4 to T3. Immunosuppressive effect also. Antithyrotropin receptor antibody also. Intracellular adhesion molecule 1, soluble interleukin 2 and interleukin 6 receptors decrease with time. May induce apoptosis of intrathyroidal lymphocytes and decrease HLA class second expression. So it is the immunological reaction. It increases the circulating suppressor T cells, decreases the helper T cells, natural killer cells and activated intrathyroidal T cells. This is the immunological reaction which is taking place. Now this is the diagram where it is shown the effect of the antithyroid drugs, inhibition of the thyroid hormone synthesis and reduction in both intrathyroidal immune dysregulation and the peripheral conversion of T4 to T3. Tyrosine, thyroglobulin denotes tyrosine residues in thyroglobulin. I, the iodine intermediate TPO thyroid peroxidase. So it affects on inside the thyroid gland and outside also peripheral. So the conversion of T to T4 to T3 is inhibited. Now, difference between prothiouracil and carbimazole. Prothiouracil less potent than carbimazole. Prothiouracil more potent bound than carbimazole. Prothiouracil is less transferred 10 times hours across placenta to milk. So it is less potent. Prothiouracil, that means it is safe. Prothiouracil has 1 to 2 hours of half-life and carbimazole has 6 hours. So carbimazole has more half-life than the prothiouracil. Prothiouracil single dose acts 48 hours and carbimazole 12 to 24 hours. So that's why we have to give many doses of prothiouracil and we have to give only one dose in a day carbimazole. Prothiouracil no active metabolite but carbimazole methimazole. So prothiouracil does not have any metabolite, but carbimazole has a methimazole as a metabolite. Prothiouracil we have to give many doses in a day, and carbimazole we have to give a single dose. Prothiouracil inhibits peripheral conversion T4 to T3, but methimazole does not. So clinical pharmacology, it is rapidly absorbed from the GIT. It speaks within 1 to 2 hours. Serum level have little to do with the thyroid antithyroid effect because we don't have to estimate the concentration of these drugs in the plasma, which typically lasts from 12 to 24 hours. But we should know the half-life, what it is half-life, which is having a long half-life, which is having a short half-life. But once it reaches there, its action remains for a longer time. So methimazole has a long duration, once a day. Methimazole is essentially free in serum, whereas 80 to 90% of PTU is bound to albumin. Uses thyrotoxicose in both Graves and toxinodular goiter that I have already mentioned. Maintenance dose as per the patients. As definitive therapy, Graves we give 1 to 3 years for a longer time. Young needs less duration. Preoperatively, risky thyrotoxicosis, carbimazole before surgery. Third, along with iodine 131 first drug with radioactive, then surgery, thyroidectomy. So we have to give the first this PTU or carbimazole, then there is a surgery, then we go for the thyroidectomy. Thyroidectomy and radioactivity contraindicated in pregnancy. So this procedure is contraindicated in pregnancy. Now, this does not, doses do not need to be altered in children, elderly and renal failure and liver diseases. Although the clearance of the methimazole but not PTU may be decreased. We have not to decrease the dose in these patients. This is the special, I would say, in children, in elderly, in renal failure and liver disease, we need not to change the dose. Now, 2 ways, primary treatment for the hyperthyroidism or preoperative therapy before radiotherapy. So we have to give the 2 ways, primary treatment KJP and then radiotherapy for surgery. Graves' disease remission is possible, euthyroid. So there is a hypothyroid, there is a hyperthyroid and there is euthyroid. Euthyroid is the normal range for 1 year after cessation. So euthyroid, when it comes, we have to see its remission. Not primary therapy for toxic multinodular goiters and solitary autonomous nodules because spontaneous remission rarely occurs. So it is not primary therapy for toxic multinodular goiters. Now, primary treatment in pregnant and most children and adolescents, preferably in severe Graves' disease, Graves' eye disease. Radioiodide therapy has been associated with worsening ophthalmopathy. So we have to look into it. Now, this is the figure. Radioiodine may be preferred as initial therapy for adults in the United States, but not for those in the rest of the world. So there is a difference. It is in the United States, but the rest of the world we don't give it. Subtotal or near total thyroidectomy is also an option for some patients after treatment with antithyroid drugs. In adults who have a relapsed, definitive radioiodide therapy is the preferred strategy. Some patients prefer a second course of antithyroid drug therapy, and this strategy is preferable for children and adolescents. Now, antithyroid drugs, radioiodine and surgery, patient satisfaction is 90%, more than 90%. It costs low. This procedure also used to normalize thyroid function before the administration of the radioiodine caused by a rise in stimulating antithyrotropic receptor antibodies. So it stimulates this kind of reaction. So methimazole and PTU, methimazole is better than PTU because there is adherence, there is a consistency of the dosage and more rapid improvement in T3 and T4 and side effects. Prothiazole is that given during pregnancy. No practical consideration. Starting dose of methimazole is 15 to 30 milligram 4 times. PTU 300 milligram daily, and then many patients can be controlled with smaller dose of the methimazole, suggesting that the accepted potency ratio is 10:1 for methimazole as compared to PTU is underestimated. If methimazole is overly aggressive, iatrogenic hypothyroidism with relatively mild hypothyroidism may result. Now, follow up every 4 to 6 weeks until thyroid function is stable or the patient becomes euthyroid. So we have to have a follow up for 6 weeks. Maintenance, we have 5 to 10 milligram methimazole or 100 to 200 milligram PTU daily. Hypothyroidism or goiter can develop if the dose is not decreased appropriately. So hypothyroid, we have to take this is a hypothyroidism, it is used for the hypothyroidism, but we have to see the hypothyroid or goiter can develop if the dose is not, decreased appropriately. So out of the first 3 to 6 weeks follow-up, intervals can be increased every 2 to 3 months and then every 4 to 6 months. Serum TSH level remains suppressed for weeks or even months despite a normalization of thyroid hormone levels. So a test of TSH is poor early procedure. So once we give this therapy, TSH is not the biomarker. So TSH can be suppressed, but then we have to do the TSH after a certain period of time. So patients sometimes continue to have elevated serum T3 levels despite normal or slow. So these T3, T4 or free T4, they increase, not decrease the antithyroid drug use. So these biomarkers are not consistent under these conditions. Now, in severe hyperthyroidism, large goiter, T3 to T4 ratio when is more than 20, higher baseline levels of the anti-thyrotropin receptor antibodies. So under this, there is a low remission. Now, age, sex, smoking, ophthalmopathy, duration of symptom before diagnosis is very important. Risk factors for relapses, depression, hypochondriasis, paranoia, mental fatigue, after an average of 3 years of antithyroid drug therapy. So TSHR at the end of the course of treatment, predictive value. So positive relapse is often seen. However, even those patients whose antibody titers have normalized have a fairly high rate of relapse, 30 to 50%. So this is a big, it's a story about this radioiodine and this PTU and these drugs. And since immunosuppressive effects, a higher dose or longer treatment duration might enhance the chance of the remission. Prospective trials, more than 4 years follow-up, do not indicate that treatment for 1 year has any effect on relapse rate. So treatment for 12 to 18 months is the usual practice. A Japanese study is there that shows that a combination of antithyroid drug plus thyroxine for 1 year is very important, followed by thyroxine alone for 3 years, decreased the relapse rate significantly. So this model in the Japanese studies has been proven as a good study. So discontinuation of drug, how will it discontinue? Children and adolescents are often, for many years, relapse is increased in normal, free T4 and T3, but suppressed TSH. Relapse usually occurs within the first 3 to 6 months after the medication is stopped. Overall recurrence rate is 50 to 60%. About 70% of the women in remission who become pregnant will have a postpartum relapse of Graves' disease or the development of the postpartum thyroiditis. So this we have to take into consideration. When used before radioiodine therapy, PTU, but not methimazole, increase the failure rate of the radioactive iodine. This radioprotective effect of the PTU may be related to its ability to neutralize free radicals produced by radiation exposure, can be overcome by increasing the radioiodine dose. Methimazole are dose related, PTU less clear. Cutaneous reactions, usually urticaria or macular rashes, arthralgia and GI upset, 5% of patients with equal frequency for both the drugs. Cross-reactivity between the two agents may be as high as 50%. The use of the alternative antithyroid drug is contraindicated. There is arthralgia, should prompt drug discontinuation, may be harbinger of a severe transient migratory polyarthritis known as the antithyroid arthritis syndrome. So agranulocytosis is the side effect. An absolute agranulocytosis count of less than 500 per cubic millimeter is the side effect. 0.37% in PTU and 0.35% in methimazole. So we have to take this into consideration. Must be distinguished from the transient mild granulocytosis less than 500 per cubic millimeter in Graves' disease, African descent, and occasionally in patients treated with anti-thyroid drug. Baseline difference white cell count is very important. Can occur 90 days of treatment, but can occur more than 1 year. Greater in older patients, this agranulocytosis, a higher rate of death can develop after a prior uneventful course, a relapse, and a second course of therapy. Fever and sore throat is also there, or the most common sepsis, very rapid onset of fever, chills, and prostration. Pseudomonas aeruginosa, most common this infection recurs. GCSF may shorten the time to recover and length hospitalization. And hepatotoxicity is 0.1 to 0.2%, 30% with normal baseline GPT treated with PTU, transient increase ranging from 1.1 to 6 times normal, resolved while therapy is continued. Asymptomatic elevation in GPT occurs frequently in untreated patients with hyperthyroidism and are not predictive of the further increase after PTU therapy. The average duration of PTU therapy before the onset of hepatotoxicity is approximately 3 months. Allergic hepatitis is pathologies of massive or massive hepatic necrosis. Case fatality rate of 25 to 50%. Liver transplantation may be required sometimes. So methimazole or carbimazole are typical of cholestatic process. Alternative agents should be used cautiously. So there's a vasculitis. PTU is more than methimazole. So drug-induced lupus reaction takes place. Perinuclear anti-neutrophil cytoplasmic antibodies occur. Anti-myeloperoxidase anti-neutrophil cytoplasmic antibodies occur. Mechanism PTU can react the myeloperoxidase to form reactive intermediates, promote autoimmune inflammation. So acute renal dysfunction, arthritis, skin ulcerations, vasculitis, rash, and upper and lower respiratory symptoms, including cyanosis and hemoptysis. Although results of the drug cessation, high dose glucocorticoids or cyclophosphamide in severe case we give. Short-term hemodialysis is very important. Now, pregnancy. Thyrotoxicosis occurs in 1 in 1,000 or 2,000 pregnancies. An antithyroid drug should be started at the time of the diagnosis. PTU in North America because cross the placenta minimally as compared with the methimazole. However, recent studies suggest that PTU does in fact cross the placenta. So congenital anomalies with methimazole, particularly aplastic tweets, single or multiple lesions of the 0.5 to 3 centimeters at the vertex or occipital of skull. Very rare methimazole embryopathy occurs, colonal or esophageal atresia. 2 to 241 children of women exposed to methimazole, spontaneous rate of 1 in 25,000 to 1 in 10,000 for esophageal atresia and condyle atresia respectively takes place. So in allergy to PTU, methimazole can be substituted. Class D agents we call it. If the maternal FT4 level is maintained or at a slightly above the upper limit of the normal, the risk of the fetal hypothyroidism is negligible. So by the third trimester, approximately 30% of the women can discontinue therapy and still remain euthyroid. For nursing mothers, both drugs are considered safe. So thyroid storm. PTU preferred inhibits conversion of T4 to T3, but no evidence that is more efficacious than methimazole. A high dose of either drug should be used, 60 to 120 milligram methimazole, 600 to 1200 milligram of PTU per day in divided dose. Beta blockers we use for thyrotoxicosis, used because of the sympathetic overactivity, used because while awaiting response to carbimazole or iodine 131. Along with the iodide for preoperative preparation before subtotal thyroidectomy. So thyroid storm, thyrotoxic crisis emergency is the drug. And we have to do the CBC, DC obtained immediately and discontinue if the granulocyte count is 1000 per cubic millimeter. Thyroid storage is an emergency due to the decompensation hyperthyroidism. Treatment: various beta blockers, dramatic relief, higher doses reduce peripheral T4 to T3. Propranolol 1 to 2 milligram, slow IV followed by 40 to 80 milligram orally every 6 hours. Withdraw slowly when T4 level is normal. PTU 200 to 300 milligrams. Eponoic acid 0.5 to 1 gram 1 hour after PTU or epodate iodate. Thank you very much for listening.